All right, good morning. How's everybody doing? I hope you're okay. This might turn into a longer video. Uh, I'm nuts about the Alice pack, and I love using military gear in the civilian world, and in particular for hiking and being geared up, and for go bags, you know. And they're still using, a lot of special ops guys still prefer the Alice pack system. It's been around since the Vietnam War, and it's still heavy duty stuff. I was watching a movie recently. I can't think of the name of it, of course. It was a military flick. It was, and they covered the provisional reconstruction teams in Afghanistan. And I noticed that on the outside of the Humvees, they were hanging the large Alice pack. These are all there's only two sizes that I'm aware of, the medium and the large. And the medium can be rigged to be used without a frame. This one, I put that internal frame on this pack in Arizona recently. I did a video on that, and I've modified this. I'm going to talk about some of the modifications today for you because I know people want to know. And then you know, it can also be mounted on a frame, and I recently snapped this up, and this is what I wanted to talk about today, and we're going to get into it because this one has been heavily modified by the person who owned it. And I want to do a little sleuthing on it and talk about what I'm seeing. And then show you something I made, and then what's in this bag here, which I believe is another Alice pack on a frame that I wrapped up in plastic. And it's probably been in the shop at minimum 5 years, maybe as long as 10 years. I had that here because I had thought about making some wooden type frames that'll work with it. Now, as I was saying in this film, the large Alice pack, it's not designed to be worn with just straps. It has to be mounted on the frame. And the way that it works on the frame is that this pad that's up here slides over the top of the frame. So what I saw in the movie, which was really neat, was they had that system on the outside of the Humvee. So you could take the large Alice pack and hang it right on there. And I thought, whoa, that's genius, man. Like, I want to rig that on the van. I'm thinking about maybe mounting something on the outside of the box or the side of the box, or maybe something I can mount over the tire. You know, people use those trasharoo bags or whatever. I have the large Alice pack, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty large Alice pack. There's a bunch of other pockets on it, so you can organize your storage better. So just throwing that out there. Now, this pack, I didn't spend a lot of money on this. One of the things I have to touch on as well is that you see all this stuff, and this is nothing. I've got a bunch of Alice packs, and I've got kit bag, go bags, you know, get home bags, survival bags, whatever you want to call them. And I've just collected, you know, I'm single, I spend my money. That's why I'm always saying I'm out of money now. I need work. So I'm terrible. But all the stuff that I purchase is worth money, and when I've hit really hard times, I've sold stuff that I own, and I always get more for it than what I paid for it. I'm pretty good that way. And I've considered making kits for people. I've been approached to do this. The problem is, what are you willing to spend on it? There's videos out there. Other people have done it. I've thought about doing it. Our 99-cent stores are closing, so I haven't gone to it since that announcement happened. I've often considered like going to a 99-cent store and walking through and putting together a decent kit for people, like to show you could do it inexpensively. Having said that, I own a lot of high-end or, you know, decent quality stuff. I have a lot of knives. I have a whole box of stuff just so I could build survival kits, whistles and all kinds of little things that you can put in these tins, and extra gear. Just every time I see a poncho liner, a military poncho liner, I snap it up. Just a ton of stuff. And that's why I end up building these bags, and they're just like security. They're just there because everybody I know that knows me out here is like, hey, if something pops off, I'm coming to your house. So I'm geared up. I'm geared up where if a few buddies show up that I can work with, their minds, I can be like, here's a kit, dude. Here's how we're going to work this. Here's how we're going to get out of here. And I got the gear for people. But I don't need all this stuff anymore. I don't think any of that stuff's really going to happen. And I do think about selling it, but for a kit that I would put together with a really good quality A.L.I.C.E pack with all the right upgrades, which we're going to talk about, making them more user-friendly, and then like a quality knife and all the stuff, you know, that you would have, the basics, you would build upon it yourself. There'd be over $1,000 worth of gear there. When you really, one knife could be worth a couple $100, you know, certainly up to $100. Just depends on what the knife is. And then it goes on from there. Just when you start doing the math on all the stuff, it just becomes astronomical. But it would be better than, quality-wise, a lot of those survival kits I see out there. A lot of those backpack kits, those backpacks, they're made in China. I've owned them. I've talked about it here. I've cut them up because they've fallen apart. Straps have pulled off, all that stuff. So this is proven technology from the 1960s that's still around because it was built that well. It's that tough. And that's why people love the A.L.I.C.E pack. And the versatility of it. Like I said, you could wear it as a ruck or on the frame. Now this bag, I just was blown away. I looked at it and I noticed this guy had some Fastex buckles on some straps here. And the big thing is about this one is all the repairs that have been done on it and the upgrades. So now he didn't upgrade this strap system to work with the Fastex buckles, right? So this is your hood. These are your hood straps. And they go through these metal buckles down here at the bottom, which is a pain in the butt. These things here. You don't want to have to undo this buckle every time you want to lift the hood and get into the bag. So at some point, they made a kit where you replace that with a Fastex buckle. And it's a short piece of nylon here, and you run your female buckle through the metal buckle. You keep that on the pack there, and then you run your strap, your upper strap, this one here, with the male end of that, and boom. Now every time I want to get into the hood of this, I just have to unsnap these two things here. Boom, hood's open. Now I can get into the pack. This pack has been modified where I've also mounted the Marpat hood for the big Marine Corps backpack on it. All right, that gives me a ton of storage space. The mindset with this particular setup was, you know, gear that you want to get to all on the outside and leave your inner pouch basically empty. Like in this one, I think let's just see what I have in here briefly, and we're gonna get to this pack here because I'm excited about it. But I don't have a lot in here. It's a pretty decent setup. I could take off right now with this pack and have what I need: procure food, get around, sleep, all that good stuff. So in the little radio patch up top here, I have a poncho liner, Marine Corps Marpat pattern. We call it the Wooby. It's so comfy. It keeps you real warm. I had a friend that did cold weather training in Iceland with just this. It sounds crazy. And his poncho. Just because he was like, screwed, I'm not carrying all that weight. And he survived. He was fine. Because he was a Marine. Yeah, we're all tough guys. Anyhow, there's that. And then in the bottom pack, okay, in the big hole down here, I've got a casualty blanket. Anything else? In this pack, that's all I have. So the casualty blanket, it's a tarp. It has grommets in the corners. It's green on one side and reflective on the other. So this will reflect your body heat. You know, you can use it as a tarp as well if it's raining. So it's just, and a ground cover. You know, I don't have to explain. This is not a survival class here. Just really want to briefly go over what I had in there. And we will fold this up and put it away later off camera. So that's all I really have in these big pouches. What that does is it allows you to, as you're walking around, you know, you got to think like doomsday scenario, right? You've got room for other gear, other things that you find along the way. You should have some extra socks, a long sleeve chambray shirt maybe a vest or something for warmth, a skull cap to keep your head warm, pair of gloves, you know, as far as that clothing goes. You're going to wear what's on you, and that's all you're going to wear, man. You know, and yeah, whatever. I'm not going to get into what's in it right now. You'll see on here where I put the more modern canteen holders, and I've got the Nalgene canteens, and these have water in them right now. And these are great because they have two large pockets on the sides where you can put more gear, and it's just, once you're wearing it for a while, it's pretty cool and you understand it. Of course, I upgraded this with the aftermarket, the ones that came later. The military made these more heavily padded shoulder straps, which always come in camo. You always want to use a sternum strap on here. All right. Now we get back to this pack I picked up, because this is old technology here, man. This is a really interesting thing to me, because I'm looking at it, and the one thing I noticed was it was using these old canteen covers, which I still had. This is what we were using still in the 1980s. But what's really interesting is, well, there's a couple interesting things. For instance, there's one little pocket on these, and what that was used for was for water purification tabs. And when I picked this up and I felt it, I thought, oh, they got the old water purification tabs in here. And then I opened it up, and it was, no, just the empty bottle. Nice and clean, too. So get yourself some water purification tabs, put them in here, and that's where they would go, right? Now, these canteen covers, they're insulated, which is really interesting that they did that. It helps keep sound, and would keep your water cooler or warmer, depending on what you put in here. By the way, these canteen covers also, they've been repaired. See the stitching on here? A lot of repairs on this pack and the gear on it. And the canteens, both of these canteens are the old school. This is like World War II and Korea era. I didn't open them up yet. Oof. Yeah, it's got that brackish, like you had creek water in there or something. So, you know, I'd want to clean this out really good. But look, it's still got the cork on the inside of the cap. Now, obviously these things make a lot of noise compared to the plastic. You know, what's cool about this, though, you already know, right? You can boil water in this thing. Can't do that in the, I mean, I suppose you could. I suppose you could take the plastic ones and suspend them over some hot coals at a certain distance so the plastic's not melting and it'll still boil the water enough. I wouldn't want to go through that personally. And then you're leaching that plastic into the water. Don't trust it. I'd rather have these. I actually have canteen cups and everything. Maybe I'll pull one out to see how it fits with these old canteens, which should be perfect. But that's amazing to me that it had the metal. I mean, it's oh, look at this. Holy cow. Didn't even see it. Genius move. Wow. There's actually some fishing tackle on here holding the cap in place on this canteen. All right, it's a little swivel and quick release hook there. So that's an interesting little detail. Hope that's on camera and focused. So this thing is just, every time I look at this, there's another thing to notice. Let's take the other canteen out. Nothing in the little pouch on this one. And this cover is in better shape. Again, they're both lined. They have this fleece kind of lining in here. All right, again, keep your water cool or warm, but also deaden sound. Also adds a ton of weight. Ounces become pounds. Same thing on this canteen. They did the same exact setup. This is really interesting. Really, really, really interesting. This was used by somebody smart. Same smell in this. And this looks like it's real shiny in there. Don't go anywhere. Hang on a second. All right, I had to break out the flashlight here. Yeah, there is like a liquid substance in it. It almost looks like something that's not moving. Because I can see a dry spot in there. I think I could show this to you on camera. I know this is kooky, but... Hey, you see that? There's like a dry patch in there next to shiny. The shiny is like a liquid. It almost looks like honey down there. It doesn't smell like that. Or somebody puts a sealer in this thing or something. So I'd have to really wash this thing out if I wanted to use it, which I would. I would go through the process on that. It's like a, this one's perfect. Wow, this one's perfectly clean. Nothing in there. And that's what you'd really want to see. Anyhow, you guys get the picture. So that's cool. 2 metal, vintage, military issue canteens in here, which, well, this is interesting. This says U.S. GP and F Company, 1943. 1943 on the bottom of the canteen. I don't know. Let's look through the camera here. Let me make this out. Look at that. That's insane. That's insane. Let's see if the other one has any markings on it. Yes. Same exact thing. A little harder to read. But again, it's a 1943 marked canteen. You might be able to make that out there. So, World War II era. I found this a little while ago. I paid $20 for this entire thing. I'm always reluctant to tell you that, because if somebody wanted to buy this from me, it would be a lot more money. He's got the old straps. Now he's got these 2 thin straps with Fastex buckles. I ran them through this real quick this way at the swap meet when I bought it, because I didn't want to lose them. Just wanted to tuck them up out of the way. But what this guy had going on here is he had these running through this webbing here, right? So on the A.L.I.C.E pack, you have 3 outside pockets, and you have this webbing here, and that's designed to work with the military metal clips, so you can clip stuff on. What this guy did is he had these 2 straps, so he probably had like a roll here, right? Like a sleeping roll or something that he mounted with these straps, which is a very smart thing to do. So the beauty of this A.L.I.C.E system is how you can modify it. This still has the original plastic. You release this here to get it to slide. You pull it down. You have to pull this down to release it, and then when you pull on it, you push this up, and then it'll lock itself, and it's still working. Again, there's 1 internal upper pocket with a metal buckle. This one's broken. Mine is still intact, and mine there's usually a little, and I never like this anyhow, it's like a little thumb push thing here to release this, and it's very tricky. At any rate, they say that's for the radio. And then there's 1 large internal pocket, and in the inside of this there's some cord across the bottom. You could tie something off across the bottom and keep it in place down there. I guess that's for a sleeping roll. We have 3 external pockets, and let's just take this off now. I don't need to keep these on here. They're just going to get in the way. Now, what I noticed right off the bat is, again, more stitching here. So somebody came through with a sewing machine and stitched this, and one of these buckles here got lost, and they replaced it with this. That's pretty cool. And there's 2 ways to open these pockets. This is probably the most effective and fastest way, are these 2 snaps here. You would just take this and rip it open. Easier said than done. And then boom, get into your gear. The other way is to keep these snapped and then take it apart here at the buckle. This one has been cut off and melted, so that can be done. This one was cut off and never melted. And I don't know how many people are really trying to do that. This one here is still the way it's supposed to be. Or somebody did that. Yeah, that was hand done later. This was folded over and stitched, so you can't pull that through. So the only way to open this one is to do the snaps, which is your best bet, your most efficient way to do it. Found stuff in the pocket. A piece of a plastic bag and some, looks like a husk from a walnut or something on this. So that's interesting. I'm like Columbo over here. Old rubber band, no longer elastic. So all of these straps, all of them, have been modified and re-sewn. It's a well-used pack. What else do I notice on this thing? Well, I've never seen a black frame. All the ones I've seen were anodized green. And this one has some markings on it. In a circle here it says EC US. They're always riveted together and they're aluminum. So you guys can see that. All right. Now the other thing that's really interesting is this sternum strap, and actually the buckle's on backwards. I guess I could fix that. This guy modified this pack where the sternum strap is sewn directly to the straps. And you can see all the stitching. Snap this back down. You can see the stitching on this here. You see it better on the back side of the strap. Again, this is modified with a sewing machine. Somebody knew what they were doing. And even the strap to release the buckles, right? Somebody added a piece of white paracord here. That's just so you can lift up on this and it quickly releases the tension at this spring-loaded spot that releases the tension on this strap so you can loosen it up. We've got your kidney little pad here that just rests across your back, and this is old. Holy cow, man, this is old. And it even still has the original metal turnbuckle. I don't think I've ever seen one of these on one of these packs. That's amazing. And it has a guy's what might be his social security number on here. It's just got a bunch of numbers and dashes back here. I won't reveal all that. Let's put this on right quick. Just to see what this guy's sternum strap feels like on me. We're not all the same, right? There is some adjustability here. It's fine. All right. And then again, you pull these straps down, get that up on your back where you want it, and you're golden there. And then to undo it again, that's what these tabs are for here. You just lift up on that, releases your straps. Yeah, you should probably undo your sternum strap first. And now you can get the pack off. So just a really neat, he's also got these clips up here that, and you know, this is interesting. I guess we'll open that up in a moment. Normally, when I rig the A.L.I.C.E pack to the frame, I still run these rectangle clips here. I still run the straps through them and then to the frame. That's just how I do it. But this guy's got these quick release, you know, spring steel loaded clips here. So he had something else that he could mount here, which is pretty interesting. So this was a well used by a pro, man. You know, who knows? This could be, I don't know. This could have been a what am I thinking of? MARSOC guy or something. It could have been a, what was the MACV SOG guys in Vietnam? Could have been a SEAL. I don't know, but whoever was using this thing was using some pretty old antiquated gear, and they were using it right and using it for a long time and modifying it to keep it alive. And I saw the love in this. You know, I just couldn't pass this up when I saw it. and I knew it was worth, I mean, one of these canteens are probably worth way more than $20 from 1943, right? That's crazy. It blows my friggin' mind. You know, we'll do really fast just to see if it works. Then we're going to get into this other stuff here. I don't know which one I've got here that has the Canteen cup. We'll try this one first. That's the one. Now this is a brand new Canteen cup. As I recall, I have a World War II Canteen cup, and it might even be here in the shop. But for now, well, let's just see if it'll fit in here. Oh yeah, it's exactly correct. Now that would make a lot of noise rattling though in there. Of course with water in it, it wouldn't. That's the nice thing about the Nalgene. The opening's a little bit bigger. This is a non-BPA thing that's not supposed to leach into your water, the plastic. And it's quieter. And it may actually hold more fluid. It is hard to tell. It looks to me like the Nalgene's a little larger. See, it's more bulbous up here. So it probably does hold more fluid than this old metal one. You know, this thing with my watch hobby, by the way, that's another thing I got to add to. I have so many watches, I can add a decent watch to every pack as well. So I showed this over the weekend, or a couple weeks ago I did a video on it. I'm showing you this now, and then we're going to quickly open or look at these other two things I have here, just because as a point of interest, I think you guys might find it kind of cool. Don't know what I'll do with this. I'm considering breaking it down, running the bag through the wash, cleaning everything up. It's interesting. I feel like maybe doing some design cues and maybe taking, it'd be kind of neat to do like a vintage inspired kit with this. Maybe an Air Force survival knife, and maybe a more period correct poncho, and maybe a poncho liner from back in the day, and a wool Jeep cap. And, you know, basically just for fun, you know, because all men who have hobbies are basically big kids. We just love this stuff. Now, this here, well, we'll get to that last. Let's go ahead and open this up. This hasn't, like I said, it could be 10 years that this has been sitting here. It was, I wrapped it up because I knew it was going to be here for a while, and, you know, dust gets everywhere in the shop, so. I love opening stuff up like this because it's like Christmas. I think that that's a thing for people like me too that live alone. Maybe psychologically speaking, maybe that's why you buy so much stuff, you know, because nobody else is going to buy you anything. So you're always like, oh, it's like Christmas. You treat yourself to Christmas all the time. What is this? This is just a big piece of Visqueen. Black plastic. It's not even a contractor bag. I think I have a contractor bag over there, so maybe I'll swap it to that. Alright, here we go. So this one, now, it's interesting. This is in really good shape. It's practically brand new. Look at this thing. Obviously the frame is a little bit beat up and used. And this has the Molly 2 kidney belt on it. Now this is a mod. This has got that almost vomit smell to it. That's the breakdown of the rubber on these things. I'm going to get to everything here. I don't know why this plastic clip is here. That should not be there. And this has the, you know, everybody's worst. I mean, I don't like these. This is the thing that was broken in the other one. You push down on this with your thumb, and it takes a pretty good amount of force. Right now it's locked. It has these real sharp teeth in the metal buckle. Right here. You have to push pretty hard on that to release it, to get that to slide. You don't want to do that and then have to feed this back through it. So the idea here is you undo this enough to loosen it. Jesus. See what I'm saying? And I'm see the muscle right there? Look at those muscles. There we go. So you get it to the point where it's pretty loose, and then you do this, and then you try to pull these to the side. You know what I'm saying? So you can access the interior, and it does have the straps in the bottom, and it's got the radio pocket. Here's nothing in this pack. It's in pristine condition. This discoloration here is from this deteriorating, and that's what the smell is. So what a lot of people also don't know, shows to you real quick, even guys that use these packs, you see there's two tabs right here. You pull them open, and there's a little kind of hidden pocket here. So I guess you'd call this a map pocket in the lid itself, and they all have that. There are videos where people will redo this rubber coating. It's got this white stuff that's coming off on my hands with like a Flex Seal you could buy at the hardware store. So you could tape this out and use Flex Seal on this and waterproof that. And really, it's just the hood that's kind of water resistant. But this is not really. Oh, there's stuff in here. Oh, I'll bet you. What do you think is in this pocket? Take a guess. I think I know what it is. I don't remember, but I think I can guess what's in that pocket because you see here what's missing. The straps. My guess is there's a set of shoulder straps in there. Let's just do it the easy way. Yes! Oh, man. Not only are they the shoulder straps, but they are the good shoulder straps. The aftermarket, more padded, quality straps here. So that's pretty cool. Like this whole system here, the pack alone, for a good one like this, in this kind of condition, I don't know. You could probably get 60 bucks or so for that. You probably get 40 bucks or so for the frame. These straps, I don't even know if you could find these anymore, so you'd have to put a premium on that. And the other upgrade on this is the kidney belt, which we're going to talk about real quick. On eBay, you can find a lot of this stuff. You might not find this, at least for a price that you want to spend on it, but you can find these at, oh, am I seeing things here? Looks like this is, maybe has a little bend in it. I don't know. At any rate, this is the the Army digital Digicam, I think they call it, pattern, the worst. As far as just aesthetics go. I look at this, it makes me want to vomit, which would make sense because then it would smell like the hood does. What I like about these, first of all, they're far more robust, larger, they dissipate more weight across the small of your back. But what's really cool about them is they have the MOLLE webbing on the sides. So I have another pack with a frame at home where I took the MOLLE 2 Canteen covers, all right, these here, and I've mounted them directly to the belt, right? So that's great because it transfers the weight down to your hips there. This system, I kind of wish the straps were on it. When you put this around your waist and you cinch that down tight, now you're just, this is hitting your upper back, this is hitting your waist, and there's all this air space between there, so your back breathes. And as we know, with a frame, it dissipates the weight better. So you're not feeling that as much. Just it's way more comfortable. The only negative to it is depending on your physical nature, you know, your personal anatomy versus weight. How much weight you have in it, because with these 2 points of contact on your back, if this gets a little bit too unwieldy, it is distanced away from your back, right? So it makes things a little bit more rocky, right? So like if you've got enough weight back there, and let's say you're going over a rocky terrain, you're doing a climb, and you just kind of, you misstep suddenly, and your foot drops an extra 6 inches or so you didn't expect, and you twist a little bit, that weight that's being pulled away from your back from this system can throw your balance off to the point where you tumble over. Ask me how I know. A lot of humping, man. A lot of humping. So there's positives and negatives to that. We'll put this one on from a couple weeks ago where I modified it with this. This is the back of a Chinese Condor pack that I mounted to this A.L.I.C.E pack, really just with the clip system, right, on the bottom, and then it's just fed up in here. This is the pad that would go over the frame. This got some weight to it, this pack. It is full. There's 2 full canteens of water here. You guys saw this in the other video. I'll just put it on for you again. You always want to use that sternum strap, at least I always do, because it just keeps these pads from separating, pulling off your back. There. So here's this pack, and you can see when it's tight up against your back, that weight, it's more part of your body. So if I was to step down a little bit and just suddenly drop a foot, that weight isn't going to want to pull me over as easily as it would as if it was on the frame and distance away from my back. It's physics. You should be able to see this in your mind. So there you go. And this, I've not yet done a hike with this internal frame, the way I mounted it, but boy, it sure is more comfortable. It's a little higher on my back. Oh, that's better. Yeah, I'm looking forward to giving this one here a shot. This feels a lot better. But, negative again, sweat. Right? So, that's right up against your back. And that's fine. That's part of the thing. You're going to sweat your ass off. That's just how it is. Now, let's get to this thing, because I think you guys will get a kick out of this. I made this for an event. As a matter of fact, that Condor pack that had fallen apart on me that I pilfered, I've been using the parts for other things. Again, the internal plastic part on the back is what's on this pack right now. Originally, I think the shoulder straps pulled out of that. I think that's what happened. So what I did was I made this for an event. Can you guess what this does? Can you guess? Can you guess what this is? What this is for? I'm giving you some time here. By the way, these right down here, 99-cent store dog collars. And so what I was doing with this was I had that pack where the straps had ripped off. I mounted that on this wooden frame that I made. And I put these down here, and I had a blanket through here, right across the bottom. These dog collars, again, 99-cent store, tough nylon. This is very strong stuff. We know that these Fast X buckles work. Those things work. It's got a little metal D-ring on here. It's adjustable. So for a quick release setup for a bedroll, something like that, your poncho, whatever, I like these. Real fast, inexpensive. So this has the A.L.I.C.E pack kidney belt on it, all right? And it's got the nice set of modern straps on it. Have you figured this out yet? I'm giving you time here to figure this out. You keep staring at it. You think about that for a minute. I'll take this off. All right, let's show you. Well, first of all, I'll put it on. Now you can see what I did here. I've got a pad. This is just your insulation for plumbing, and this. So this rests across my upper back. This hits me at my lower back. And then you can mount whatever you want on it. I've got to better loosen these up a little bit. I guess we're going to call this video playing with the A.L.I.C.E gear. And well, we got to talk about that other one I found, that vintage one. That has to be in the title. But yeah, so we're going to put this on. Now, I made this for a particular event that takes place pretty frequently. This is not fitting me right now. Doesn't have to. This is not designed for major hiking over mountains or anything like that. If you were to investigate hiking and vintage packs and all that, making some sort of wood frame has been around forever. Thousands of years people were doing that. Some sort of wood stick frame and putting their bag on it. Like, this is not 20th century technology here. So there's an event that takes place pretty often over at the cemetery behind where I live. You know, there's a cemetery there. The entrance is on Santa Monica Boulevard. The Hollywood Forever Cemetery. And I used to go there all the time and before they were doing this, but they do movies there on weekends. And I had a friend and she bought tickets for The Outsiders. This is a while ago. And I thought, well, if I'm going to go and do that, you know, people bring chairs and everything else. And I was thinking, how can I do this to consolidate where the chair is in my pack? So that's what I made here. That's what this is. It's not really a chair that you sit on. By the way, I've used this at the beach. I had this with me at the Jersey Shore 5-6 years ago, and it worked out great. It's something you lean up against. Now, for me to use it, I have to undo this kidney belt. That comes off completely. And now this will open. I'll take the straps off to the side here. Something's caught on here. And now this opens. And so the idea here was that you can just stick it on the ground and lean up against it. And I guess I had a system with straps because I remember this was an issue where you didn't want it to open too far. So I think maybe what I did was I disconnected the strap and ran it underneath here to keep it from going too far. But the idea here is that you can, you know, if I was at the beach, it's probably going to open up on me. So, boom, you just, that digs in the sand, and now I can lean up and be comfortable. I could be like this and be talking to somebody on the beach, you know, that sort of thing. And so there's pictures of me at the movie when we did The Outsiders. I think I had the old wool army blanket strapped to this thing. I put that on the ground. I put this thing down. And on the soft ground, obviously, these feet dig into the ground. They don't go anywhere anyhow. But yeah, that's what I did. I had that going where I had a little system for that, which is no big deal. You could do that with a rope. You could do it with paracord. But it's a proven concept that worked. You know, when I would go to the beach, I'm a beach kid, going way back, I figured out this system where if I just went with a towel, maybe I'd bring my fins and do some body surfing. I didn't want to bring a whole bunch of stuff. I would just dig into the sand and I'd create like a chaise lounge shape right in the sand to kind of sit up enough. And I put the towel in there and it was awesome. It was like, so just use your brain on stuff, you know. At any rate, I thought you guys might dig on this. This was just a quick prototype that I made, and it works. Now, I would do this differently if I was making another one of these, and I always wanted to, and I just never got around to it, figure out an actual chair that you can sit on. I'm pretty certain I could do that. This was just made of scrap. I had this on here, so if people were behind me, they could see my website and be like, oh, maybe we should check this guy out. Even had the old logo burned in there, and there's a bunch of notes on here because these were pieces that were left over from jobs I was doing. It's kind of funny there. Yeah. Anyhow, I thought you guys would get a kick out of all this stuff. So really, this whole video was inspired by this old A.L.I.C.E pack that I picked up because, like watches, like knives, like girlfriends, I just kind of collect them, you know what I'm saying? Couldn't resist. I mean, I live like a monk now, so I can make those jokes, I suppose. Yeah, so vintage A.L.I.C.E pack system compared to more modern, modified by me. Is there anything else? With this pack, again, the big thing is the Fast X buckles. People have asked me to show you how to rig this Marpat hood on here. and I don't even really remember, but you can see what I had to do on the hood. I had to cut 2 slots through it where these clips are that you typically run the shoulder straps through. So I can run the shoulder straps through the holes and then to the metal clips. So that's the main part. That's what really holds that up on here. And I mean, I just rigged it. I can't explain it any better. Now there's the Marpat has a Fastex buckle here, and then I've got another one with a strap here that goes around, also goes through that same clip system, that buckle up here. So I'm held at 4 points of contact at the top, and then that's pretty much it. Then on the underside, it's for the Marpat hood, the straps coming off of the A.L.I.C.E pack itself, which are very long. They give you a lot of room with that. I think the idea originally was you can use the straps from the hood here and put a big roll, because back in those days they had those big, we had those in the Marines that were horrible. These big, heavy sleeping bags. They weighed like friggin' 8 pounds or something. So you could roll that up and put that on the top of the pack and hold it down with the straps used to hold the hood in place. So you just take those straps and you run them through the clips that are already on the Marpat hood. So there's a little space here. Underneath the Marpat hood is molly webbing as well. So if you wanted to get real creative, you could mount something underneath here as well. There's also another smaller strap with a clip here underneath the Marpat hood. And that's it. Again, you have this. And you see this just has the nylon there. So if I wanted to make this more waterproof, I could go ahead and spray that with that rubber spray stuff you can get at the hardware store. It works. There's videos on it. You guys should check that out. And as far as the Marpat hood goes, it's just such a neat thing. It has these 2 heavy-duty zippers, and they use a rubber tubing here, so you can grab it. You just pull those open. And now you got a bunch of gear. Let's just see what's in this for now. I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a while. I'm not thinking about this stuff all the time. I had this for over 20 years. I think this is water purification. Yeah, so I got the Sawyer water filter system. I got aspirin and some lip balm and a little TP in here. Some Ziploc bags. We're not going to go through this whole pack. I'm just going to see what's in this hood. In that video, I had unzipped this and I realized that this was hanging out. It bothered me. I watched the video a couple times, and every time I spun around, I saw this hanging out. It's like, oh man. Anyhow, this is an emergency survival bag, reflects body heat. So this is a bivvy. Pretty good one. If you've got this, which I do, the ground cloth, or you know, the casualty blanket, I can set up a tarp. I got the bivvy, and I've got the poncho liner. So you put the poncho liner around yourself inside the bivvy with the tarp if it's raining, and you are golden, man. You're nice, comfortable night's sleep there. Okay, this is a really good knife. I've done videos where this knife has appeared, and I just want to point out, because people will say it's a 2-piece construction. It's not. This is all milled from one solid piece of steel. I believe it's a 1075. This is the Schrade Survival SCHF1. I also have the smaller version of this as a spear point. I've used this, you can see. And it's kind of a copy of, I think, the Steve Reeves version. I think he was out of South Africa. This sheath, this Kydex sheath, is actually a K-bar sheath that just fit in perfectly. I wrapped paracord around it. A lot of paracord there, a lot of extra here. And then, I don't know what I have in here. Oh, great. So this is a sharpener. All right, diamond sharpener there. This is for the serrated part, and this is falling off. That just came off. That sucks. I'll have to figure out a way to glue that back on. But that's a ferro rod, and it has been used. I've used this quite a bit. You can see, you might be able to see that on screen there. At any rate, or hold that back together. And then there is a vintage Leatherman, the original Leatherman tool. And this thing here is just phantasmic. I mean, you can't go wrong with these things. I found a guy selling these at a swap meet back in the day, and I think he was selling for like $10 a piece or something. I bought all of them. They might have been $20 a piece, and I still would have bought all of them. I think that's what they were. Maybe they were 20. I think he had 5 of them. I spent like $100 right there, because they're hard to find, and when you do find them, people want a lot of money for them. So, a couple different points of retention. There is a hollow handle. Let's see if I have anything in this one. So I remember this. I've got a bunch of lint crammed down in there, so that'll help with fire starting. That's from your dryer. And you can take lint and take some lip balm, which is like a petroleum jelly, and you can rub down your fingers with the lint. Put that down, you got a spark, and you got a fire going. I'm sure there's survival stuff in here. Yeah, whole little kit. Strike anywhere matches, fishing line, things like that are in there. And this was just some little aluminum container I found. It's got a rubber grommet on it. So we got double water safety here. I always wanted to, this is aluminum. I always wanted to get a drill. This is designed to work, believe it or not, with a tool kit in the handle. So there's like an aluminum, not aluminum, there's like a magnetic adapter you would find on that you put on your screw gun to put bits in, and a bunch of bits. And that would go in here. And a steel rod you can put through here, and there's even a set screw to hold the steel rod in place, and then you can use this like a screwdriver. Now this part is just epoxied in there, and I've never gotten around to doing this, and I should talk to one of my machinist friends. We should see, because that's probably steel right there. I'm guessing that's what that insert is. Maybe a hole saw first, but basically I'd like to drill this out or bore that out, make that hollow again, and then maybe find a compass. I think that's the sign from the universe to end this friggin' video. So I think that's what's going on. That's what I would like to do with it, but it might not be worth the effort. At any rate, that's what's in there. Aluminum and steel is always a thing. You gotta be careful with that. And what else is in here? Okay. This is the Glock shovel. I don't need to open this up really, but it's a good one. I've used that. And these have been in here forever, so this is long before the disease that we had that shut down the country. But this is good if you're in the oh, that's what I need in here is goggles. I have them in the van. Military goggles, something like that. I've been in the desert when windstorms have happened. Man, you got a windstorm, you should at least have a bandana with you. But if you got these and some goggles, you can still trek. You can move. You can evade. You can get through comfortably where you can breathe and see in a windstorm. People don't think about that, but all it takes is getting caught in the desert one time in a windstorm. You will always be prepared after that, so you heard it here. Just be prepared. This is really redundancy, but this is really what I would use more so for digging a cat hole to go poop. And then I don't know why this is in here. I mean, a little hunk of rope comes in handy for all sorts of things. This happens to be more like a jute style, so that's also flammable. I mean, this is great. You can throw this up, get your pack up off the ground, get your food out of the way, secure your stuff. You know, I don't have to explain to you what a hunk of rope is good for. There should be some paracord in here too, and there probably is in the other pockets. Again, we're not going to go through this whole pack. I was just curious to see what was even in this hood. And that's it. So this is the thing about all of this. It's the game of Tetris to put stuff back away, you know. At any rate, again, with some rope and these carabiners that are on the hood, it's just helpful. Even this little, you'd think junk that you throw away. This little hose right here is like a straw, but I can also blow through it and direct a sharp burst of strong air to get an ember going to start a fire. So there's little stuff like that. It's just important to, oh look, coffee fell out. So I got instant coffee in here. It's probably in here, just fell out of here. I got that with some emergency food and everything else. So anyhow, back to this whole video was just inspired by this thing that I picked up for a song. Two 1943 World War II used canteens on a system that looks like it's right out of the 1960s. So all this makes sense for the Vietnam era. And maybe that's what this is. Maybe that's even what this frame is, and I'm just unfamiliar with it because I don't know everything. Far from it. You guys have to tell me this ECUS stamp on here. But it being black just throws me off. It makes me think this is a more modern thing. Okay, so these straps down, look at this. There's another set of straps here I didn't even notice. So, okay, pretty cool. Just one last thing. He's got these thicker straps that are going, on the bottom of the A.L.I.C.E pack, you have this webbing sewn on here. I hope this is on screen. And that's also to lash something to the bottom of the pack. And the way you run it here, look at that. Now, I guess that's how it's supposed to be used. Although I know that I have two of them. Radio trays that clip in here. I think that's what these holes are originally for. These holes on the bottom of the frame here. I've never used them for anything. I still have them. But they ran this strap through the bottom of the pack and through here. So that's a little extra security. And again, what do you think? Of course, you're going to put a bedroll or something underneath there. I don't like it because that hangs down on your butt. And it's bouncing off your ass, you know, while you're humping along. I don't like that feeling personally. I like having the weight higher up on my body, but that's what's going on there. So really, really neat thing. So keep your eyes peeled. If you're at a swap meet, you know, a lot of the time, and look, most of the time when I see an A.L.I.C.E pack at a swap meet, it's all messed up and it's not put together correctly. Somebody put the straps on wrong, all of it. Snaps don't work, that sort of thing. I have bought a lot of them like this one that were in perfect condition. There was a guy at the Fairfax swap meet, he's an artist, and for years, it seemed like every time I walked by him, he had another A.L.I.C.E pack hanging, and I'd buy it from him for $10, $20. That's how I accumulated a lot of these. He said he had a garage full of them. They were like his uncle's or something. So that's how I ended up getting so many of these things. And I'm just telling you, the A.L.I.C.E pack is one of the best rucks you could buy. And if you get a frame for it, it becomes like a real pack where you can carry serious weight. So that's all I'm saying is don't hesitate. And a lot of the times they have them sitting on the table and they're young people and they don't know what they are or where they come from. They can tell it's an army pack, you know. That's what's going on in their brain. Of course, in the Marine Corps we had them. But every branch of the service uses them. But sometimes they'll have it there for $30 or $40 or something, and you pick it up and it's dirty. And you start messing with it, and you're like, "How much you want for this?" And then just think it out in your brain. Like if they want $20 for it, that's a good deal. But there's nothing wrong with saying, "Would you take $10?" You might get it for $10. You know, and sometimes there's gear in it. Like when I walked up to this one of these canteens was out and sitting next to it. So I was going through it. I took the canteen and I put it back in the pouch. I didn't notice they were 1943 canteens at the time. I'm really pleased with that. But the point is you pick up the gear around, you put it back together, and that's what I did. And I set it down, and he was very busy, this guy, selling everything else. I walked up to him and said, "Hey, that green pack over there, what do you want for it?" And he said $25. And I was going to just buy it. I was like, I started walking away. I said, "Well, would you take 20?" He's like, "Yeah." Done deal, man. Done deal. Just these extra straps that I took off and threw over here, with the buckles on them already cost several bucks. It's just making these things, right? You start doing the math, again with the canteens, the frame, and everything else, this is actually worth quite a bit of money. So that's it. Now that's the end of this video. I hope you guys got a kick out of it. Phil's box is almost done. All I'm doing is the finish right now. Somebody made a comment. They said, "Phil's never going to get that box." But the box now has 2 coats of finish, and the cutting board fold down drawer front is oiled. I'm going to put a little more on that tomorrow, and we'll be close to being finished. And then I'll be sending that off to Phil. All right. Okay. Now, I've got to go ahead and do some work for my clients here in the house. I got to fix a door for them. I got to measure up their front door, which is falling apart. I got to put a new piece of hard oak across the bottom of that. And that's what's happening. So you guys have a great day. Thanks again for being here. You know I appreciate it. And, you know, be kind to one another. Tell your friends. Come back often. I'll catch you in the next one.